Folks, let's get you caught up on the news of the day, all right? So basically, the government operates using this thing called money. And the money that they get from taxes gets appropriated by Congress into something called a budget. And the budget is what is then spent to allow the government to do things like hire bureaucrats, wage war, do things and stuff, ostensibly improve people's lives, that kind of thing. And we have been in a bit of a pickle for the last couple months because the Trump administration has been uh, what is colloquially called uh, taking the power of the purse from Congress. This is the basic idea is in our Constitution, Congress is given a certain set of powers, and one of them is referred to broadly as the power of the purse, which is Congress sets forth what the budget is, and then the executive branch must spend that money. That's kind of how it works. However, Donald Trump and Elon Musk have come up with this very clever ploy, which is simply not doing what they're supposed to do as part of the federal branch of government and just spending it however they would like and shutting down departments that are required by Congress, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It is a subversion of the balance of power in our governmental structure. It is something that is not tenable, and we have been, as a result, in a bit of a escalating constitutional crisis as a result. Um, so that brings us to this week. And this week was pretty important and is pretty important because starting on Friday, the government shuts down unless Congress can pass a budget. Now, the issue with that is a lot of people are really scared. A lot of these congressmen and women are really scared of passing this budget, specifically because Republicans are the ones putting it together and by and large are the ones that need to pass it. The issue with that is that they are looking to cut trillions of dollars from programs like Social Security, Medicaid, SNAP, etc. They are looking to effectively kill the homeless, kill the hungry, kill the elderly, kill the infirm. Basically, if you ever think you might wind up poor and in need of medical care, they want you dead. That I'm not going to coat it today. I'm not going to try and bullshit you. That is baseline what that means, right? Now, what they are trying to do, because Republicans are scared, because they know that the second they vote in that budget, they have set in motion a series of events that will lead to their constituents wanting their heads on pikes, possibly literally. And so they don't necessarily want to put their name on it. However, Donald Trump and Elon Musk really want to pass this budget to give all of those trillions of dollars that would otherwise be spent on things like healthcare and, keeping the elderly in homes and, living with dignity or, allowing the disabled to live. Instead, that they want to take that money and give it to their richest friends, their fellow billionaires, right? And well, that's not going to be very popular. But Donald Trump, very influential political figure, using his cult of personality as a bit of a cudgel to try and bring these Republicans in line. On top of that, Elon Musk has hundreds of billions of dollars. And I'm going to turn
Republicans
off text to speech right now because I need to get through this. I need you all to understand. I need you all to be on the same page. It's too important. I'm very sorry. I will read donos that happened during this segment later. But essentially, folks, what they are trying to do is steal from all of us. They're trying to steal your future. Even if you don't need Social Security right now, you're gonna need it someday. You will hopefully grow old at some point and be able to retire. That's what Social Security is for. Additionally, you might say, well, I don't know about that. But you know what? A lot of people, no matter where they're born in life, what assets they may have in their control, at some point, a lot of people wind up poor. And you know what you might need if you wind up poor? You might need Medicaid, the system that allows you to get health care and health coverage when you are sick or injured and poor. Okay? Also, you might get in an accident that renders you disabled, in which case you're going to need to pull on those benefits that are getting cut. And you know what? If you're poor and you happen to have kids at the same time, you're going to need things like SNAP in order to feed those kids. All of these programs that are useful for every single one of us. Hey, you know what? Even if you're a super wealthy person, do you like walking down the sidewalk and like not having the elderly dying in the gutters? Guess what? You should want Social Security for them too, okay? Like, just if you don't even give a shit about them on like a human level, you should understand that they don't just disappear. They don't like, vanish like a Jedi ghost into the ether. Like they continue existing. Now, on top of that, what we're looking at here is bad, right? A lot of pressure going on. However, right now, Republicans do not feel like they can actually pass a budget. So instead, what they are trying to do is pass a CR, or continuing resolution. And effectively, what that is it extends the previous year's budget for 6 months. So if that does get passed this week, what that would mean is instead of the government shutting down on Friday, it would shut down in September. Okay? And it kicks the can down the road. However, that also basically means Elon Musk and Doge and Donald Trump have a blank check to continue gutting the federal government. They have the ability to just continuously cut and cut and cut, and we can't have that. The only other option available to us is to kill this continuing resolution. Now, the bad news is that has already passed the House. And what that means is all that is left for this continuing resolution to pass is the Senate. So, what you guys need to do, and emails are also good, but you guys need to call your senators. You need to take time. I know it's late tonight, but you know what? If you want to call them and leave them a message, go for it. And you know what? Call them in the morning when you wake up. Call them in the afternoon. Okay? Call them as much as you can. Because we need them to know people are paying attention. Because Democrats in particular have the ability in the Senate to stop this. Effectively, what they need to do is they need to deny cloture. They need to vote no on cloture. Because cloture essentially means that, like, no business can kind of go forward in the Senate. It is a move that they are able to do because there is just enough of them to deny cloture. Right? And this is all super important because if they invoke, if they deny cloture, which is effectively like filibustering, we can get to our government shutdown. Okay? And we need the government to shut down because I need you all to understand what is happening. We already have a government shutdown. Elon Musk and Donald Trump are already shutting down the government and subverting Congress. There are no guardrails. There is nothing in the continuing resolution that prevents essentially Donald Trump and Elon Musk for using the budget allocated by Congress in whatever way they want. They can effectively use it as a gigantic slush fund that they can all personally draw from. Okay? Understand that if this continuing resolution passes, it only makes their position stronger. It gives them even more time to leverage that money and political capital to flip members of the Senate to get the budget passed in September. There is nothing we can do after this. This is kind of like our maybe you can think of it as maybe one final off ramp for like what we can do to organize in a way that will bureaucratically stymie their ambitions. All right? This is one of those last things that we can do before worse worse things are made a reality, you know? Does that make sense to you guys? So what you are going to need to do is call your senator. You know, call your elected senators. Do it. If you do not know how to, okay, there is a website called 5Calls. Let me pull that up for you guys real quick. 5Calls is a very useful website that will give you a script. It will also allow you to it will also allow you to easily contact your senators. Um, get on it, okay? It is necessary to make these calls. This is how they know we are paying attention. And if you want to throw into your message, hey, if you allow this to go through, if you do not vote no on cloture, I am going to instantly start primarying you. I'm going to start, giving money, or I'm going to go find someone who will run against you. Okay? I'm going to fund whoever is going to take you out of your position, you know? And Mr. Miyagi, I know. Yeah, but you know what? You know what? I know we're dealing with spineless jags. I understand. But you know what I don't want to hear? I don't want to hear people say, "Oh, I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to call because there's no point. They're spineless." Make them grow a spine out of necessity. Okay? This is not one of those things where we can just be like, "Oh, well, we'll get them next time." What this effectively does is end Congress. I need you guys to really wrap your heads around this. It ends our representative democracy because there is now no longer really any connection between what budget Congress votes on and what the federal government spends that money on. All right? There is no connection if this budget and continuing resolution go through. So you fight, you call, you organize. If you can, you visit their offices and you make known what your priorities are. Should we call the DC offices or home offices? Better yet, call them both. Okay? This is like guys, if you're looking for, hey, how do we stop this authoritarian takeover? This is the number one thing you can do right now. And if we don't do it, if we fail, then we are going to be kind of fucked. We're going to be in a situation where we're going to have to look around and start looking real hard at our other alternatives when it comes to organizing. Because this basically, have you been frustrated by Democrats saying, "Oh man, we're just going to sit back and watch everything burn"? That's basically the position you guys are going to be in if this continuing resolution goes. Not because there aren't other, because there won't be other options. There won't be other options other than sit back and watch it burn. Should I voicemail tonight or call tomorrow? Do fucking both. What leverage would you use for someone that's not running again? I genuinely, I would call them. Just call them. Tell them that you're paying attention. Tell them that the country is depending on them. Tell them that democracy, relies on them voting no on cloture. Okay? No, this is not House Concurrent Resolution 14. The House resolution has already passed. We're talking calling senators. Hello, Letterhack. This is kind of like an all hands on deck. After you watch this part of the stream, I don't want you to wait until the end of the stream. I want you to go and message and text, call your friends, family, post out on your social medias that you want other people to do this too. Okay? Yeah, if somebody's leaving, talk about how their legacy, talk about how they're going to be remembered, talk about pull on whatever kind of emotional heartstrings you think that they may have remaining. What do you say to our deeply red state Republican senators? Honestly, tell them that, you're going to primary. Tell them that you are going to fund whatever opposition you need to fund to get them out of office. Tell them that you are going to make sure, even if you're not a Republican, you're going to support a Republican primary challenge to them. Whatever you got to do. Say what you got to say to support your position. And we need you to do that, not just tonight, not just tomorrow, but also the day, Friday morning. Okay? Like, I don't really know how to emphasize this more, that this is the last kind of bureaucratic roadblock in our system that would allow us to put any kind of check on what Elon Musk and Donald Trump want to do when with regards to our systems. This is it. This is the last roadblock. And if this passes, if we fail, it is, the burning of Rome. We sit back and we watch the flames and we do whatever we can to keep our little corner of the world from falling apart. And in the meantime, at some point there will come a breaking point for the wider country, but there is no real additional future action. Right now it is this and the courts. And right now, from everything we have seen, Donald Trump and Elon Musk are largely ignoring the courts. And yeah. Yeah. This is where we're at, folks. Um God. And I need you all to understand why this is important. Senate Democrats met today to discuss what they would do if this continuing resolution passed the House. They weren't able to come to any definitive conclusion. They don't have an answer, and they have 48 hours to figure it out. Yeah. For those of you asking me what time the bill is going to be voted on, I don't know yet. All I know is that it's going to be voted on likely on Friday morning. Um, at the end of day on Friday, the budget expires. So it's gonna probably be a vote on Friday. They will probably want to take as much time as they can to get people in line. So probably Friday. What was the website again? The website was fivecalls.org. Okay. I might have to leave for a few minutes to call my senators. That is okay, guys. Do it. It's important. Can it pass without Dem support? Democrats, if they hold the line, can deny cloture on this bill and kill it. So there is yes. The bill requires 60 votes in order to pass. Okay? In order to pass in full, it requires 60 votes. And they need 7 Democratic senators to flip. Or rather, 7 Democrats and independents to flip. And well, John Fetterman has already committed to flipping to allow the bill. So at this point, as far as I know, 6 Democrats and independents would need to flip alongside Fetterman. And it's very possible that some of these spineless milquetoast ghouls are seriously considering it. Oh no, Mr. Miyagi, Fetterman is going to fuck us. It's just we need there needs to be 6 additional folks like him as well. And the thing is, so many people right now, so many Democrats are being real loosey goosey about it. They're trying to play a low profile. And you need to call them and you need to explain to them that they need to kill this continuing budget resolution. They need to hold the line. Yeah, tell them that like if they vote for this, you will protest outside of their donors' businesses. Tell them, and you know what? Might be worth calling their donors. Call their donors and say, "Hey, lobbyist McGee, we're going to protest your company if the person you donate to votes for this." So, yeah. This is where we're at, folks. It is do or die time. It is yeah. How do we find out who those folks are? Go to Open Secrets. How do I explain why to vote against it to the senators? You can you can lay it out as if this passes, it gives Elon Musk a blank check to gut the US government. It gives Elon Musk and Donald Trump a blank check to gut the government and subverts the power of Congress. It is anti-constitutional. I've emailed my senators. Yeah, send them an email if you can't get a voicemail tonight, but call them tomorrow. I want a commitment to every single person watching right now that you will call tomorrow, that you will call, if you can today, because, the segment is going to be going up as soon as this stream is over. But that's what we need. Under let them know that you understand what is happening, what the stakes are, and that you are paying attention, and that if they vote for this, if they allow this continuing resolution to pass, you are going to do everything in your power within your community to make sure they never hold elected office again. I'll call tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. Hell yeah. It's really, really important, folks. Yep. Call, email, and visit if you can. Yes, 5 calls also provides you a sample script you can use. But again, hit the major things. Hit the major elements of this. Can I write my senator a history essay on John Brown? I guess if you want. I don't know how that helps us here. And yes, call your Republican senators too. Do it. Apply as much pressure as you can. This entire thing, we have effectively 48 hours to try to stop this continuing budget resolution that will keep the government open for the next 6 months and give Elon Musk and Donald Trump a blank check to continue gutting the government. No on cloture. I just called my senator, Jerry Moran. I was polite as possible, even though I despise him. Good. That's exactly how you do it. You remain firm, you remain polite, and you deliver your points as succinctly as you can. Even if you're saying, hey, I will do everything in my power to primary you, you don't scream it. You say it firmly, calmly, and succinctly. Okay? That is where we're at today. It is I was really, really hoping Republicans would flip on it and kill it in the House. I think a lot of people in the Senate were really hoping that as well. But yeah. Nope. That is not going through. And I think this piece by David Dayen in the American Prospect is really, really on point here. Senate Democrats' choice: block the Republican spending bill or dissolve Congress. Like that's really the stakes that we're talking about here. Okay? If this spending bill goes through, it effectively makes Congress moot. It effectively means Donald Trump has the ability to just ignore Congress and effectively is a king, is a dictator. He really is what he claims to be. And that is not good for any single one of us here tonight. This is what we need to do. Call them tonight, leave a message if you can. Call them tomorrow, call them Thursday, call them Friday. This is all hands on deck, red alert, wee 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 sounds. Okay? I don't know how to really emphasize it more to you all how important this is. If you're a lurker on my stream, I need you to do this. Okay? I need you to do this. If you are someone who is a longtime viewer of this stream, I need you to do this. If you are new to the stream, I need you to do this. But more importantly than me needing you guys to do this, your grandparents need you to do this. Every elderly person in America needs you to do this. Every disabled person in America needs you to do this. Every poor person in America needs you to do this. Every starving child in America needs you to do this. Because if you don't, and we fail, everyone gets fucked, except for the wealthiest people to ever exist. So that's what the stakes are right now. Now, Starm, you ask a very good question. Why would people actually vote for this, especially if they're Democrat? I don't get the complacency in the face of this. A lot of Democrats have been leaning towards a strategy of simply give the Republicans everything they want under the assumption of if you give them enough rope, they'll hang themselves, you know? Um, Without really thinking it all the way through that if you give them enough rope to hang themselves, they certainly have enough rope to hang you. And that's they don't really consider that part. They don't really consider what the rope may be used for. And on top of that, they believe that they all they got to do, and a lot of their top strategists like James Carville advocate for this. Just sit back, relax. You don't even have to do anything because Donald Trump is going to tank the economy. Everyone's going to be really upset with him, and then it will be back to business as usual in 2 to 4 years. So, just go grill and chill, baby. Go drink some mimosas on the beach. And the issue with that is, again, they aren't really considering what may be done with that power in the meantime. And so that's one part of it. Another part of it is that there is a certain segment of the Democratic Party that has been bought and paid for by lobbyists that work for the same tech oligarchs that currently work within Donald Trump's administration. Full stop. They are, working for the same team. And that's kind of the situation we're in. When is this? There's no like specific time, but the budget needs to be passed by end of day Friday. Vote will probably take place on Friday. There's not like a hard schedule as far as I've seen so far. Yeah, John Fetterman is a really good example of the thought process here. Snub a 13-year-old cancer survivor. Join to dress protest paddle bonanza. Bizarre pick your fighter videos. Hold your beer. Government shutdown. Never, never, never vote for a shutdown ever. That's John Fetterman's analysis right here. Excellent stuff. Um, what did some other folks say about this? Do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Yeah, John Fetterman is one of the biggest disappointments in congressional history. Let's see here. Ba-ba-ba. Where is this? Sorry, I had a lot of stuff prepped for today. Is this? Hmm. Whatever. Can't find it. Fine. Here we go. Found it. Here's Congressman Jared Golden over here. Excellent, excellent guy. Putting the Mariners first. Blue Dog Democrat. I just voted to pass a continuing resolution and avoid a government shutdown. Here's a short thread to explain why. And I'm gonna spoil something for you guys here. It's because he's chicken shit. It's because he's chicken shit and he got bought. That's why. This CR is not perfect, but a shutdown would be worse. Even a brief shutdown would introduce even more chaos and uncertainty at a time when our country can ill afford it. Funding the government, which by the way, this is just a way of saying his rich donors don't want the markets in turmoil, and so he's going to vote to pass the resolution through the House. Funding the government is our most basic obligation as members of Congress. My vote today reflects my commitment to making tough choices and doing my job for the people of Maine. The CR includes several provisions Mainers can celebrate, including billions for the construction of the DDG 51 destroyer at Bath Iron Works, funding to provide junior enlisted members of the armed services their biggest pay raise in 40 years. The CR also includes increased funding for immigration and customs enforcement. Oh man, I love more funding for ICE. Increased funding for disaster relief. Increased funding for operational expenses at national parks, including Acadia. Ignore the fact that the Trump administration has been gutting national parks to the point where like park rangers are there aren't park rangers anymore in some national parks. Okay, but that's not the kicker. I'll tell you guys the kicker at the end. Okay. The CR also includes extended telehealth flexibility for Medicare and advanced funding for state Medicaid programs and aging and disability programs, services programs. To be clear, the CR is not the one I would have written, but elections have consequences. I'm disappointed by messaging gimmicks from some in my party, particularly the untrue claim that the CR cuts veteran services. And I need to remind you all about the story from yesterday, which is quite literally that they are currently cutting VA services. So, this man is just either woefully misinformed or just a dipshit. Well, let's continue, shall we? Let's continue. The truth is, there are no cuts to veterans care in the period covered by the CR. We have 6 months to ensure funding continues in the next fiscal year. To say it contains cuts is, at best, a misreading that creates unnecessary fear amongst veterans. At worst, Dems are adopting the same cynical GOP political tactics that we have rightfully denounced, using misdirection to justify a vote. This may seem politically expedient, but it only lowers us to a level we shouldn't accept. And I'm just going to stop right there because, all the stuff he's talking about, how this is like securing funding for national parks and securing funding for the VA and securing funding for XYZ, Medicaid, Social Security, ICE, etc. That's all horseshit. And we know it's horseshit because right now, Donald Trump has taken the power of the purse from Congress and is not spending money on the things that Congress is saying money needs to be spent on. They are, in fact, actively breaking the law in that regard, and nothing is being done about it. And so, in order for us to actually ensure that money is spent in the way that Congress dictates, there needs to be guardrails in the continuing budget resolution. And right now, there are none. And if this goes through, it just gives them a slush fund. It just gives them a huge chunk of money that they don't consider to be actually tied to anything. If we stop it, you know what doesn't shut down during a government shutdown, guys? Courts. Courts don't shut down. Okay? Courts don't shut down. So while the government might be shut down and fewer government workers are actually going in to do their jobs, the law will continue churning its gears until we get more and more clamps and assurances and lock down this attempt to overthrow our democracy. Okay? So you need to call. You can use fivecalls.org. Again, just going to link that in chat for you guys. But you guys need to be doing this. You guys need to call. You know, it's not just a fun little joke when we say "shimps together strong" as like a community joke. You know, it's not just a joke. It's true. When we all work together, we can accomplish more than any one of us can do alone. Yeah, call like you are a lovesick ex trying to get back with the best thing that ever happened to you. Okay? Call with that level of desperation. Yeah, and I know it's late tonight, guys. Call and leave a voicemail. Excellent. Tonight. Tomorrow, call, and if you can't talk to a human being, leave them a voicemail then too. Okay? Banana Brains, Elon Musk could still do things during a government shutdown. It's true. However, the scope of the damage he can do is extraordinarily reduced by having the government shut down. Had to do voicemail for both the senators. And yeah, guys, it's like 11 o'clock at night. No one's gonna pick up in those offices. But you know what? You call tonight, you call tomorrow, you call Thursday, and I want you to let them know that you are paying attention, that this is of existential importance to you, your loved ones, and the country, and that you will do everything in your power to get them out of office should they vote for this continuing budget resolution. Okay? That's that's what you need to communicate. In what way would it be reduced in the unique case of Elon? For one thing, there are fewer people in the government to do the busy bureaucratic work that needs to be done in order for those things to be done. It narrows the chain of command uniquely to Elon Musk in a way that courts can then much more easily use against him. It would effectively mean that he has fewer people to give orders to. It slows it down. It slows it down and understand the government, they are already trying to shut down the government. They just have way more tools at their disposal right now. So take away their tools. Lee Kestner, call your senator and let them know that. Call your senators, let them know while you're waiting to call the Social Security office, call your senators. Let them know you want them to shut down. You want them to vote no on this continuing resolution, and let them know in part that you want that budget bill shut down because the Social Security Administration is already stalling checks to your loved one. Let them know what is actively already happening. If you can, folks, when you call, make it personal. Tell them how this has already impacted you. How Elon Musk and Donald Trump's cuts have already impacted you. Make it personal to yourself. Because those stories stick in their brains. Their staffers write down those stories and share them with their senators. Okay? A real story like that can actually move these people. I'm in an endless fight to get Social Security. Bring that up when you call your senator. Yeah, that's the other part, right? Like, we're not trying to. When I talk about like how this is all being ground out by Donald Trump, that Donald Trump and Elon Musk have usurped the power of Congress, that's not hyperbole. Donald Trump has explicitly said he would use impoundment to effectively just ignore the dictates of Congress in regards to budgetary items, meaning that he is going to use power illegally in order to spend money on what he wants to spend it on rather than what Congress tells him to spend it on. If Congress tells him that he needs to use that money to save 1 million starving orphans, he's going to look them in the eye, laugh, and say, no, fuck no, and then give it to his rich friends. That's exactly the order of events that will take place. And if you think, oh no, Jack, Donald Trump wouldn't do that, he literally is doing that with US aid right now. The funds through US aid literally go to stop children from starving to death. The treatments we put out through US aid save hundreds of thousands of lives. Is there five call Michael 5 calls does have some preliminary script you can use. Don't let it be your end all be all, but if you are real socially anxious, which I understand, you can rely on that. So, yeah. I mean, you have the president of the United States essentially announcing his intention to ignore Congress. Nothing that gets put into the continuing budget resolution will actually be guaranteed to go to anyone in your state through the federal government. You cannot rely on the federal government to actually fulfill its promise to send out funds. That's the entire point of them talking about impoundment ceaselessly. So again, I need to remind all of you, this is the final roadblock between us and like a true authoritarian stretch. After this, we're very firmly in like the territory of we have no effective bureaucratic means to rein in this president or this mad king. This is the last one. We are already looking at this administration on the words of just unelected officials in power right now, having permanent residents of the United States seized by ICE and disappeared into the ICE facilities. That's already happening. There will be no blocks on that outside of potentially injunctions from courts, but even that, who's going to enforce that? Like if this roadblock gets ignored, if we blow through it, then we just have to like sit and pray to the court system. And not only that, we have to pray to the courts and whatever holy ghost might move some kind of law agency to actually act upon the orders of the court. So, yeah, we're in a this is the bad place. Or rather, we're a hair's breadth after the bad place. After a no vote, do they have to write a new budget? After a no vote, they would have to work together with Democrats in order to come up with an acceptable budget. At which point, Democrats would say, there is no circumstance under which we are going to vote for a budget unless you guys put explicit guardrails to keep Elon Musk's filthy hands off of our budget and to keep the president from impounding this budget. And failing that, they need to sit back and say, we're not going to vote. We are not going to fund this government. If we have to sit back and not fund the government for years, we will do that. Because what we are talking about here is the very existence and power structure that has kept America stable and democratic for hundreds of years. If this is allowed to go, we do not have Congress. We have a king nominally bound by court systems that king can ignore on his whim. So, if need be, Congress should say, we're taking our ball and we're going home until you can play with us. Yeah, we're literally talking about whether like Article 1 of the Constitution exists. And if Article 1 of the Constitution doesn't exist, folks, none of it does. At, like I can't emphasize enough, like this is like, if we blow through this barrier, there is no guarantee we ever have an election again. So, call your senators. Call them tonight. Leave a message. Send them an email. Set an alarm for tomorrow. Call them tomorrow. Email them again tomorrow. Call them on Thursday. Email them on Thursday. And call them and email them even on Friday morning. Do it. We don't have it. We don't have the luxury to not. You can't grill and chill. Yeah, I mean, exactly, Paladin. What we need are, I agree with you completely, rules that prevent impoundment, full independent oversight of Doge, a ruling that Medicaid cannot be cut, and the requirements can't be changed without bipartisan support. Yep, yep, yep. What argument would convince a Republican senator to say no to cloture? Talk about their legacy, talk about the Constitution, talk about the power of Congress being undermined, talk about how this is kind of a point of no return, talk about how this will, essentially put them down in history as a traitor to the Republic. You know, tell them that, if they vote on this, you will do everything within your power and you will mobilize every single person in your community that you can in order to make sure that they do not stay in power, that you will vote them out. And granted, if this budget resolution goes through, voting might not count for much, but right now it scares the shit out of them. The thought of that scares the shit out of them, and use that fear. Would organizing still be possible? Organizing is still going to be possible, comrade girl. If this fails, it's just that at that point we're kind of organizing. So like there's no real organizing to obtain things from members of Congress. Really, Congress will be vestigial. It'll be organizing in order to damage the investments of Elon Musk. It'll be organizing to, via like Tesla takedown, for example, or organizing to, express rage and solidarity with one another and grow that rage and grow that solidarity so that when shit really starts hitting the fan later, we have an organized base of support. Yeah, like it is always worthwhile to organize more and more power. But if this budget resolution passes, like we're organizing just to organize to pressure power with our own power. It's not going to be for specific things from Congress because Congress won't be doing anything. Congress will be, again, vestigial. It'll be pointless. The power will be wielded by the executive. The money will be wielded by the executive. So we'll continue to organize and we'll get some kind of critical mass at some point. But like the tools for our organizations to use will be greatly diminished. Does that make sense? Yeah, if your senators are Durbin or Schumer, that's a really good point, Shoot Bang. Make sure you talk to them about whipping votes to make sure other people in the Senate hold the line. Because Dick Durbin and Chuck Schumer, that's their job. Their job is to get people to fall in line. I called my senator, but I'm still scared. It is okay to be scared. Hacker lords, Satan. But call them again tomorrow, and call them again on Thursday, and call them again Friday morning. I'm scared too. But acting, all of us together, we might be able to change this. The way you talk is scary, but it's in the way that makes me actually want to act rather than cower. I appreciate it. Setting a timer to call tomorrow morning. Hell yeah, Arf. Because we're all about I'm all about making sure I'm not bullshitting any of you about how serious this is. Because I think too many people and too many positions of power are not actively talking about how scary this is because they want their constituents to go to sleep. They don't want their constituents to call. They want people to just ignore them until they vote, and then after that, it'll be too late. Too bad. My hands are tied. Already happened. Haha. Gonna go vacation in the Bahamas. I have to be up at 4 a.m. anyway. I'm calling first thing. That's what I love to hear, Underground Uncle. And I would love for our next stream, you guys have homework. Okay? You guys have homework. I want you guys to share your stories about calling in. I want you guys to come in to stream tomorrow to talk about your experiences calling in. I might have folks call in tomorrow in order to talk about your experiences and encourage others to call in as well. Because we have 48 hours. I want to make as much use of those 48 hours as possible. So we'll do our call in. Okay, we'll be probably limiting call ins to like 5-10 minutes a piece. But whew, just got here. What do we need to call about? You need to call your senator to tell them to block the continuing budget, the continuing resolution, um, to pass a temporary budget. Is this stream over? No. All it does is give them more time to continue slashing and burning the government, all of those vital services that people rely on. And all it does is give them more time to whip votes necessary so that they can cut uh, funding to Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security. That's it. That's all it does. We need to shut it all down, give the courts time to catch up to Elon Musk and his miscreants. Yep. One Eyed Heathen, I don't think I'm going to have people call in live, just too big of a personal info risk. And also my stream is very late, so like that's probably not going to be an option for folks. Um yeah. Also, just a heads up, Stream will be late on Thursday. So, this is just a week of late streams. I apologize. My Democratic rep knows me because I kept calling, have been demanding a town hall from him to hopefully give him more confidence to grow a spine. Let's go, Andrew S. Perfect plan. And you know what? Let your Democratic rep know that if he doesn't want to show up to a town hall, you'll put together a town hall for him, and AOC and Bernie Sanders will be invited. Tim Walz will be invited. You know, they have open invitations. May as well use them, you know? So we need them to go to a shutdown? Yes. At this point, a full government shutdown is the best possible option for us. Yeah, we talked about Jared Golden, that spineless fucker. Honestly, calling him a fucker is too generous. That implies he's had sex. Uh, it's just important that we do this, guys. It is crucially important that you call and get in contact with your senators and let them know to vote against the continuing resolution. It's dreadfully important. Too important to not act upon.